Hey guys, welcome back to Trouble Valley Farm. I'm Mari, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it is August 2024 right now. We are 8 months into year 3 on the property, and we have done so many projects. We've recorded them all. We've even edited and finished some videos, and we haven't published any year 3 videos because this year 2 recap is just, I don't know why we've been so stuck on it. I just haven't been able to figure out a creative way to do this intro. So I'm over here sitting in the trash crater because it's the last place left on the property where I can record without spoiling some of the year 3 progress. So just pretend with me that it's December 2023. Let's go back 8 months in time, and here are all of the things that we accomplished in year 2 on our property. The winter between 2022 and 23 was a wet one, and we kicked off the year with the creek higher than we'd ever seen it. Winters around here are typically pretty slow going. Not much happens in January and February, but as it starts to warm up, we start getting excited for garden season. In March, we dived headfirst into planting the garden, and as you can see, we were a little ambitious. The first project of the year was installing our fruit and nut tree orchard. So we got to work building swales and berms and planted some bare root trees. We built this orchard up by the front gate, and when it was finished, we moved across the creek to clean up the area around our small pond before getting to work on the main garden. Building this garden was a massive task. The first bed alone took me 2 hours because we double dug all the beds, which is exhausting and very labor intensive. So we ended up tackling other projects in between, like inoculating these mushroom logs, which is something we'd never done before. But we kept coming back to the garden whenever we had the energy. It was a slow process, but the end result made it all worth it. But watering the garden by hauling buckets of water from the creek got old really quickly, so we got a little gas-powered pump from Harbor Freight, and that thing was a game changer. Check this out.
That's crazy, that's so much water. Having flowing water also enabled us to do some much-needed projects like rinsing out the floors and the walls of the tool shed that we spent so much time cleaning. It definitely improved the smell by rinsing all this out. Having wanted a tractor for a very long time, I found my 31st birthday to be a perfect excuse to finally commit to one. It's enabled us to tackle some pretty big projects this year, like recutting this road back to the tent. And having put over 100 hours on the tractor already, I can say it's a worthwhile investment.
Getting the tractor was a huge quality of life upgrade for us. It made everything easier. Not just building roads, but loading up trash and scrap metal to haul away. It saved us so much time and effort on just about every job we've taken on because these are things we were already doing, but by hand. Like, could you imagine spreading out all of this gravel on the road with a shovel? No thank you. Sure, some of the jobs were made up just as an excuse to use his fancy new tractor, but I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, okay, sure, I could have moved these by hand, but when you have pallet forks in a tractor, why not? These IBC totes were for our outdoor shower and water storage for the garden.
In the middle of July, 10 days after our average last frost date had passed, and with no freezing temperatures in the forecast, I decided to plant all of our warm weather crops. I'd been nurturing these seedlings for months and was so excited to finally get them in the ground. I planted 8 varieties of heirloom tomatoes and 8 varieties of hot peppers, but unfortunately, we got well below freezing, and every single one of my tomato plants and the pumpkins I also planted that day all completely dead. So I've officially lost 69 tomato plants this year in the garden. I don't have any more backups, and that's of the 300 plus starts I started in February and March this year. So let's take a look at the damage and what's left. Literally less than 48 hours after I got these plants in the ground, we saw overnight temperatures of 15 degrees Fahrenheit. These poor tomato plants didn't stand a chance. It was heartbreaking. But don't feel too bad, some of our plants did make it.
We're growing a lot of herbs and onions and garlic and strawberries, and all of those things are doing fine. The deer have pretty much left them alone, and the frost didn't harm them at all.
So no garden fresh salsa for us this year, but life goes on. There was still plenty of trash for us to tackle around the property, and we started by emptying out this gross Chevy van that we've been so sick of staring at. At the start of summer, we had some friends come to visit, and we decided, what's more fun than building a wood storage shed with an audience? The building did turn out great though, and it's one of my favorite additions so far.
Right around mid-year, we pulled the trigger on a dump trailer, and man, is this thing a game changer. It made hauling trash and scrap 10 times easier, and we've also been able to use it to get our own gravel to touch up the roads.
In July, we borrowed a drone to get some aerial shots of the place so we could plan our future projects. But seeing our property from this point of view was actually really cool.
Towards the end of summer, Ari suddenly and unexpectedly picked up 2 local jobs, so we started spending a lot more time at the property. This forced us to change our plans a little bit.
Living full-time in the tent was awesome. Living with mice? Not so much. So we decided to adopt 2 feral cats from a local shelter. This is Nessie, and this is Biggie.
With our timeline unexpectedly accelerated and winter rapidly approaching, we had to make a quick decision on our temporary living arrangements, so we opted for an RV.
The weekend we got the RV, it rained. A lot. And we quickly discovered we had some leaks in the roof. That was fun. When it was dry again, we got back to work on yet another project that we didn't plan for. We built a pig pen. We're really proud of this pen. It's 32 feet by 32 feet, which is a lot of space for a couple of piglets, and it's built with T-posts and 16-foot heavy-duty welded wire panels. The moment the pen was finished, I went and picked up these 3 piglets.
These little ones were just over 8 weeks when Ari picked them up, and they're 3/4 Cooney, 1/4 Potbelly, which makes them a pretty gentle breed and a great introduction into raising our own farm animals. Coonies are a relatively slow-growing breed, so tater tot, small fry, and hash brown will be on the farm for a while. And our long-term plan is to get a boar and breed them for our own meat and potentially sell the piglets.
We chose the RV's permanent parking location based on where we thought it'd be the easiest to hook up power and water down the road. But first, we had to build a road.
So that meant a couple days of earthwork, trenching, and laying down water and power line.
Simultaneously, we were building a custom chicken coop and preparing space for a cheap Amazon high tunnel. Out here, the warm season is short, with only 85 days between our last and first frost, so we have to work kind of quick and crazy to get things done before winter. In typical Trouble Valley fashion, we finished the chicken coop just in time for our new 9 pullets to be delivered. Remember how I said the season here is short? Well, we were quickly running out of time to get power and water projects done before the weather made it impossible. With the help of some neighbors, we mixed and poured a concrete pad which would become the foundation for our well shed.
I designed the shed to be multi-purpose. It's insulated and heated to keep the pressure tank and plumbing from freezing, and it's also where the main power meter box terminates.
With this being the first permanent structure we've built on the property, we had a lot of things to consider.
We basically had to plan for where the house and any future buildings would be and how we're going to hook them up to power and water. And then Ari suggested that there's really no difference between 9 chickens and 13 chickens.
And really, why stop there when we could have 17 chickens?
so our flock grew by 8.
Up there that he can backfill all the stuff, and then when that gets inspected, we'll come set the transformer and we'll pull the wire in.
Getting connected to grid power was a bit of a waiting game, and in October, we were really feeling the pressure to get these projects wrapped up. We used the dump trailer to spread gravel, finishing the new road and making it possible to move the RV up here. We were racing against the clock to do as much as we could on our own while we waited for an inspection to happen so that we could have the power company come do their side of the electrical work.
The day finally arrived. In November, the power company came out, dropped a transformer, flicked a switch, and we were officially connected to the grid. We got some pretty interesting backstory as well. The line supervisor who was working on our project happened to be the apprentice who cut down the original power pole 15 years ago as the house was burning down. In fact, this is the only reason we know when the house burned, because all other authorities have no record of it.
With the power finally connected and the road somehow still dry enough, we moved the RV to its permanent parking space. With the RV parked and hooked into power and water, we opted to swap out our small propane tanks for a 100-gallon tank in preparation for winter.
With the weather somehow still holding out, the projects continued.
Remember all those old cars that were laying around all over the property? Well, we finally got one of them loaded up into the dump trailer and took it to the scrapyard. And that felt so good, we did it again. And then we thought, well, there's only one left, we might as well get rid of that too.
The next project started off with some demolition therapy, trenching, and jackhammering. With that done, we were ready to install a pitless adapter on the road wall casing.
With nights reaching below freezing temperatures, we spent a couple hours skirting the RV, which immediately made a huge difference. Our neighbors came over to help us drop a new well pump into the old well casing, finishing our last project of the year just in time. After stumbling upon not one, but 2 mountain lions on a midnight walk down to the outhouse, we decided to pull the trigger and get 2 farm dogs.
So everyone meet Luna and Remus. Ari and I have wanted dogs for a long time, but up until now, we've been renters in big cities. Now that we've got plenty of space and other livestock to look after, we're thrilled to welcome these little guys to our family. Luna and Remus are a mix of Great Pyrenees and Anatolian Shepherd, both of which are great livestock guardian breeds. You can expect either of these breeds to be well over 100 pounds, and spoilers, they are.
And that wraps up everything we accomplished on our property in 2023. It's been a year full of hard work, new experiences, and a lot of progress. We're excited to see what the next year brings, and we're glad you're along for the journey. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can follow along with all our future projects. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.